Most people cannot just freestyle hand embroider as they go. They need a pattern to follow as they're stitching. So in this video, I'm going to show you different ways to put that pattern onto your fabric. This first method is the one that I use the most. I take carbon paper, which is on the supply list from my very first video, and I take the pattern that I printed out, and all I do is take a pencil and trace right over every part of the pattern. When I cut the hoop patterns out, I don't cut right on the circle line. I leave a little bit of space so that I can hold it in place, because the pressure from your finger will probably put a little bit of black from the carbon paper onto your fabric, which you don't want shown inside the hoop. This is my favorite method, and you can reuse these carbon papers about 1,000,000 times. Next is an air erasable pen. You're going to have to freehand with this. So if you're just doing something simple like a name, you can just freehand it and then it'll disappear after a couple of hours. Next is water-soluble stickers. I use this method if I'm stitching on fabric such as felt that's a little bit thicker or not as smooth, where the carbon paper just won't trace easily onto. So I cut a little piece out, and I still use my carbon paper to trace my pattern, but you don't have to. This method is also great if you want to stitch on something like, say, a backpack that you can't lie flat to do the carbon paper on. You can just do it on the sticker and then stick the sticker right onto your backpack. Then after you're done tracing it, I cut as much of this sticker off as I can without cutting into the pattern. It just makes it easier to wash away later. And then you can stick it right on your fabric wherever you want, and then you can stitch just like normal. You start from underneath, and it is sticky so it won't come up. When you're done, you just soak it in warm water and it'll wash right away. Just make sure you get all the residue off. This last method I've actually never done before. I just tried it out for this video and I was not a fan because I do not have the correct tablet to make this work properly. This is just a Kindle. If you have a tablet where you can disable the touchscreen, I'm sure this would work great. Because the tablet's backlit, you just have to make sure that your pattern is the correct size. So put your hoop up against it so you make sure it all fits inside the hoop. And then all you do is put your fabric on top and trace it over. I use like a gel pen marker that I know has a thin enough tip that you won't be able to see underneath the thread once I stitch. Or you could probably just use your air erasable pen. That would work great too. I just wasn't a fan of this because I wasn't able to hold down the fabric good enough, and it, kept moving with the touch screen. This is a great method if you have a tablet that would work with it, but you are also limited to smaller hoops. I used a 5-inch hoop for this, and I think this is about the average size of a tablet. So you're not going to be able to do the bigger hoops with the patterns. So as you can see, there's many different ways to transfer a pattern onto fabric. Play around with them, see what one works best for you. And in next week's video, I'm going to show you how to do a back stitch, but a little bit different than my very first video. It's going to have a little bit more of a vintage feel, and it's really fun to do. So stick around for that.